There's a lot to be excited about this year.
We've got a team returning after 8 seasons out, and they're fully loaded.
Andrew Gaze is back, but my how things have changed.
And his squad looked like a genuine contender.
The international talent is as good as we've seen.
And we welcome home some of our biggest names.
There's a team from the West that'll be pushing for back-to-back.
Perth Wildcats, NBL champions.
But 7 others with different ideas.
So get excited.
Because the NBL is back.
Better than ever.
Better than ever.
Better than ever. Let's play ball.
Yes, the Brisbane Bullets were back with a bang on Thursday night, a first-up victory against the defending champs, the Perth Wildcats. But now they face the Sydney Kings in their home opener here at the Kudos Bank Arena. And aren't there some star names, including the reigning MVP, Kevin Lish, who leads the Sydney Kings this season after leaving the Illawarra Hawks. I'm alongside a couple of former Sydney Kings here in Steve Carfino and James Harvey. This place is going off. Team Udolph just took Excalibur out of the stone.
No kidding. Great atmosphere here. They're expecting about 8,000 people. That's even before anybody rocks up. Everybody wants to see all of this talent that everybody's been talking about.
And everyone wants to see how Andrew Gaze gets on as a coach. Are you backing him in, Harves?
I am backing him in. I think the Kings would have a great win tonight, but I tell you what, seeing Leonard Copeland and Andrew Gaze on the side with purple and gold is going to take a lot of getting used to.
And those fixtures first up, Steve, you were there Thursday night?
Yeah, the Brisbane Bullets were tested by the defending champions, but they really answered the call. New Zealand, I thought that was an upset win, and of course, Illawarra with 122 points last night against Adelaide.
So Andrew Gaze, the head coach of the Sydney Kings after being poached in the off-season. Take us through the starting 5 he's gone with, Harves.
And what a place to start. The reigning most valuable player of the National Basketball League, Jason Cadiz, had a great preseason. Brad Newley, the man I want to see get up and down the floor tonight. Greg Whittingham, their first import to show his signs tonight for the Kings, and Alex Marriage, one of the best European careers of any Australian basketballer ever.
It's certainly an impressive starting 5 on paper for the Kings. You saw the Bullets in action firsthand Thursday night. What do you make of it?
Well, after a slow start, they really got things going in the second half, and it was Jermaine Beal who really got it going, and Adam Gibson. He was tremendous in that game in the second half, really got it going on both ends of the floor. Torrey Craig shows his athleticism. I think he's going to really enjoy playing in Brisbane, and that's one of the best shooters in the competition, if not the best. Daniel Kicken and Jervis, he did an outstanding job. He just got to stay out of foul trouble.
So can they make it 2-0, the Brisbane Bullets, or can Andrew Gaze go 100% in his first game as coach? Stay with us. We've got the tip-off coming up right after this.
Right now, let's make this the biggest start to the game ever we've had at the Kings. Who wants to have themselves a quick basketball?
cameras.
The Sydney Kings are back at the Kudos Bank Arena.
Sydney Kings.
For the first time since 2002, it's their home court again. And this place has filled up nicely. Andrew Gay is giving his team one final rev up, and the fans are standing as well.
Let's go. One thing that has been a constant for the Sydney Kings in the preseason tournament was their defense. They are very switched on defensively, which is something that hasn't happened over the last couple of years, probably due to personnel and injuries and just haven't had a consistent lineup, but they have been very strong on the defensive end of the floor. We'll see what they have offensively, how the shuffle translates into the purple and gold.
Well, we know the shuffle will translate into points. The interesting thing is that Andrew Gaze and Leonard Copeland are now coaching defense the way they never used to play it. But I know when I played for Shane Hill, the same thing. Became a very defensive-minded coach, and I think, like you said, you'll see that with the Kings tonight.
And they brought Dean Vickerman in as well, the former New Zealand Breakers championship-winning coach, to work on defense. That's the assignment that's been given to him by Andrew Gaze. We'll see how it all shakes down in the opening game for the Sydney Kings this season. The Bullets already 1-0.
Here we go.
They're eager to get going. Whittington and Jervis. And the Kings take possession through Brad Newley. Back in the NBL for the first time since 2007. There's Whittington, one of two imports on the books at the moment. They've signed their third, who'll be in on Tuesday, the Kings. Josh Powell, two-time championship winner with the Lakers. And Whittington, nice little move for the opening basket.
That's a great start, Speedy. First shot in the NBL for an import. You'll be feeling it now.
Looked very similar to the shot Ebi Arad took on you guys the very first possession when he was an import and you're playing with the Perth Wildcats.
I may have been guarding him.
Here's Torrey Craig taking on Newley in the low post. Getting into a nice position as well. And Newley picks up the rebound. An impressive start by the two-time Olympian. He's been on fire in pre-season as well. Brad Newley. And he adds another two for the Kings. Torrey Craig going straight back at them. And Newley just racking up the stats on his return down under.
I think Brad Newley's going to have a fantastic season this year. He's so experienced now in European basketball, but the NBL suits his style of play way more than Europe.
Jervis had the mismatch against Kadee, and it's an offensive foul on the Bullets centre. He had the mismatch, but he didn't make it work.
He really extended that left arm on the mismatch, demanding the basketball. We'll get a look at it here. He comes in, throws on the bounce pass. There's that left arm. Didn't really get a good look at it, but it was extended.
That's a bonus from Jason Kadee to draw the offensive foul on the turnover against the Bullets. Here's Marich. Now Kevin Lish. And an offensive foul on Marich, trying to set the screen and open up room for the MVP.
We spoke about him in the pre-game. He adds a sort of grunt and physicality that I think the Sydney Kings have lacked in the last few years. Yeah, he picked up a foul there, but he's making a physical statement early on.
And foul trouble's been an issue in pre-season, Steve. You don't want to pick up one there.
You sure don't. And without Julian Kazoo, he's going to have to learn how to stay out of foul trouble, too.
Jermaine Beal really came good after half-time in that season opener. Now kick it for three. Didn't hit one the other night. And look at Whittington, what an athlete. A big rebound. And now Newley for three. Beal straight into offense. And quick shots being fired up at both ends.
And I think this style of play suits the Kings. Up and down the floor, they want to push the ball. Certainly with Brad Newley and Jason Kadee in the game right now, they look to score freely.
Marich, touch pass to Lish, who can't make it count. Want to rise over the top of Kickett. And Kickett all the way, confronted by Lish, and that's a good, strong finish by the former Melbourne United captain. Kadee, little finger roll. Marich trying to get the follow-up, and Kadee can bring it back under his control.
And Jason Cadee had an outstanding preseason. Apart from defeating Rodney Clark for the three-point championship at the ABC last weekend, he's put up some big numbers.
Nice finish from Marich inside. He's got no shortage of moves after all that time in Europe.
Man, that's just good offense from the Sydney Kings, all triggered on an offensive rebound.
Now Jervis trying to back Marich down and gives it away to Whittington. Not sure what picture Tom Jervis saw there. Now Whittington all the way, and it's an offensive foul. Basket won't count. So good regrouping on defense by Big Jervis.
Good, we get another look. What do you think, James? See, that's a bad call to me. He's the one that initiated the contact and then fell sideways. I don't like that one.
And his feet clearly are still moving to the side. I think he may have hit him in the center of the chest, but like you said, Jervis was the one who created the contact. Definitely a block.
That is a shocker. God damn, not even close to being set.
Andrew Gaines agrees with you. How good is that to be able to...
Well, they wouldn't dare call a foul like that on Andrew Gaze when he was playing.
Kick it against Whittington in the low post. Marich comes for help, and that is a foul, and he'll shoot two. Big Daniel Kickett.
Without a doubt, Daniel Kickett is one of the most versatile scorers in the NBL. Can step outside, stick the three-point field goal better than anyone, even the guards in the league. But you saw some deft footwork there under the paint to get to the left side, and a little baby hook gets himself to the foul line for two cheapies.
He surprised me in the first week. I haven't seen a whole lot of him playing when I was over in the U.S., but I knew he could shoot the basketball. That was obvious, but he's got very good footwork down on the low block.
And he had that amazing percentages last year, 50, 40, 90. He was above all three categories, but didn't get to the free throw line enough to put it in the books.
Not just 40, but 47.
Yeah, three-point range.
And when you go through the names, even start with the NBA of the players who've gone 50, 40, 90, the Dirk Nowitzkis, the Larry Birds, the Steve Nashes. I mean, to shoot the ball at that level over the course of a season is a phenomenal effort, particularly from a big.
Well, Steve Nash did it 2 seasons in a row.
Tommy Garlip has checked into the game. Co-captain last season. Now it's Kevin Lish, the captain of the Kings. Cadee stepping back for his second three-point attempt, and he's off again. Hit 20 of 25 to win that three-point comp you mentioned in the pre-season competition. Great offensive board by Torrey Craig. Kick it. Tempted to take on the three, and that's playing with fire for a man who led the percentages last season.
That's tough to do. And that pump fake, he had no rhythm going into that thing. Still stuck it.
Newley, lovely little pick and roll with Marich.
There's the size of that screen having an impact.
For all the bigs at home, the young bigs, he set that pick and he rolled hard, and a great bounce pass by Newley to find him for the finish.
And hold it there. And hold it there. Hands to your hands.
Garlip asking for help. Lish provided it. Gibson for three. Rebound from Marich. Lish thought about pulling up. Nice little move on Gibson. Newley all alone in the corner for a long time, and he goes to the basket, and the fans love that move from Newley.
Wow, what a great crossover. Brad Newley, fans might not remember him from a long time ago, how great a scorer he was in the NBL, but showing glimpses there of what they saw years and years ago.
Now Beal the other way. Now Brad Newley, as a teenager, burst onto the scene with the Townsville Crocodiles, MVP in the All-Star game in his rookie season, Rookie of the Year. Let's have another look at that move from Brad Newley.
He knew he had the big man on skates. That was always going to be a tough cover for Daniel Kickett.
People don't realize how tall Brad Newley is. I mean, Brad Newley's a good 6'7" at least, so to be able to put the ball on the deck, cross over and finish at the rim like that, there's not many guards in Australia that can do that.
The Kings' second import into the game, Michael Bryson. Jeremy Hill also off the bench in the 21 singlet. Michael Bryson straight out of college and into the professional ranks with the Sydney Kings.
Always wanted to be a king of the Sacramento variety. Nice little move from Kicken.
I mean, he's just showing us everything. Little up fake, little bounce, little runner. Previously, little drop step, little left hook, step out, shoot the three. He's got the whole package.
He's got all 9 of the Brisbane Bullets points. Daniel Kickett, not Hill's range. He's going to turn down that shot. Now Garlop. Great offensive production from Garlop last season when he was hitting those for fun. Now Beal all the way. Nice little screen being set by Mitch Young down low.
And we spoke pre-game, Speedy, about the Melbourne Tigers and now Sydney Kings shuffle offense. But in the new NBL, where the pressure of defense is up the floor, it becomes very difficult to get that set. So I'm looking forward to seeing that if they can get to the half court.
Garlop is going to take on the 3. Rims out for big Tom Garlop. And last touch off Jeremy Hill. Averaged 14 points a game last season, did Tom Garlop. Bryson is being held off by Sean Bruce.
24, push.
Bruce gave the Bullets some good minutes, especially in the second half in their win over the Perth Wildcats.
And I think that's a learning curve for Bryson too. An American coming into the game or the NBL early on is you don't need to be up and in on that play. Bruce is so deep, give him a step, be able to slide your feet and cut him off.
After some indecision, they decide Bruce can have 2 shots. From the Cairns Taipans in the off-season, Sean Bruce got a lot of minutes when Markel Starks went down last season as well. CJ Bruton won a few championships under Andre Lemanis. Now he's left-hand man, as we looked at.
He won a few championships under everyone.
No, he didn't. He just got it. Hey, just put up.
Bryson, a real athlete, getting to the rim with ease, but he's stopped by big Mitch Young. Beautiful timing on the rejection from the former Townsville Crocodile. Now trying to do it at the other end, but it's stripped away by Kevin Lish, who led the league in steals last season, and he's credited with another one there.
Have a look at this athleticism. And Young, just well-timed. Pretty good athlete in Bryson, for sure. And Andrew Gaze and Leonard Copeland.
Yeah, Gaze to Copeland for the alley-oop. I was asking Leonard about the first time it happened. And it was in a pre-season game. Andrew had just stepped off the plane from playing in Italy, and he knew that Leonard could jump a little, so he just threw it up to him, and that was how the alley-oop to Copeland was born. Not on the training court.
I thought you were saying that, because I was going to say I thought Will Ferrell invented it in semi-pro. Coffee black.
Newley from long range. And great scrapping by Garlop on the offensive board. Keeps it in the Kings' grasp. After an impressive start from the home team, they've been overtaken by the Bullets, who really worked their way back into the opening game nicely as well.
Yeah, and I think Brisbane had to take the emotion out of the crowd and the emotion out of the Kings, and they've certainly done that now and settled nicely.
Now Bruce. And another foul. It's called on Marich. We mentioned the foul trouble that he's been getting into in pre-season.
Push down the back. 2. Here we go, guys. 2 shots.
It's another on the big man. And that's why they've gone for Josh Powell as their third import as well, to get some size.
Yeah, they have their third import. He won 2 championships with the Los Angeles Lakers, played over 350 NBA games, so a great pickup. But I still think that Alex Marich needs to be very careful not to get a reputation as a fouler. He's done it the preseason tournament, and he's done it here. And the NBL officials can get in the habit of blowing the whistle quickly on a guy that they know fouls regularly.
And the Kings were worried about this game if Marich did get into foul trouble, who they can throw into the centre role. And they've got a former Fremantle Docker out there now in Craig Moller. Going to take the inbound pass. Played one game in the AFL with Freo. A couple of years with the Peel Thunder, and now he's in the NBL.
Also, Matt Canyon into the game for the Bullets. He's a youngster from the Central Coast.
We're seeing a lot of rotation in this opening quarter. Referee right on top of it, and the fans are saying call the foul on Torrey Crane. At least a little short. Nice rebound from Moller. And a push in the back as well. He's going to be a cult hero around this place with a hairdo like that.
Having grown up in Perth, though, I'm a heavy West Coast Eagles fan, so I can't give him too much credit, but nice offensive rebound there.
Sydney High old boy as well. He turned them into a powerhouse in the GPS basketball system in the Harbour City. Trying to run the shuffle here, the Kings. Garlick, clear contact. Foul on Kenyon, and Garlick can shoot too.
And while we've got a break, Steve, with the early rotations of teams, I'd like to get your thoughts on why players these days in a fitter, stronger environment only play 28, 29 minutes. I mean, back in our day, certainly you'd be playing 40 plus the good players, and with the strength and conditioning these days and the way they attack that, I'm surprised that the rotations are so heavy.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I honestly thought that with Andrew Gaze being the coach of the Sydney Kings, we wouldn't see as much as that, because that's what he grew up in. I mean, he played all the minutes. He played in the era where Darnell Mee would play the whole game. Rob Rose would play the whole game. Ricky Grace would play the whole game. So it was always interesting to see if he would follow suit with that.
Here's Kenyon, the 18-year-old. Missed the opening game with an ankle injury, so he's done well to recover. This game less than 48 hours after that season opener. Kept alive by Jervis for Craig, and there's Bryson over the top of everyone to haul in the rebound. Kadee to Newley for the open three, and he buries it. Brad Newley having some opening quarter back in the NBL. Kenyon with a nice finger roll on the other end from the teenager.
And as a youngster, get out and run the floor, maybe even cherry picking they call it, but nice way to get on the board.
Come out, come out.
Only a second or so between the shot clock and game clock at the end of the first quarter here. Sean Bruce running the clock down. Pick comes from Jervis. Turnover comes the way of the Kings. So they've got 5 seconds to get the last shot off.
Wouldn't Andrew Gaze like to be out there right now?
Now Kadee, clock running down, knew he had to get one off, and that was never going to fall. A nice defensive adjustment from the Brisbane Bullets, and they lead after the first quarter. Sydney Kings came out of the gates. Brad Newley's been on fire. He's got 7 points so far for the game, but Daniel Kickett leads all scorers with 9. It's the Bullets by 3 after 1.
Pretty simple. We plucked you from the obscurity of the crowd next to Chemist Warehouse to win we sell $10,000 from the halfway mark. So hard to the line. Give him a hug. $3,000 from the three-point line, and then $1,000 from the free throw. Are you ready?
Play for a post. Be aware that when it goes into the post.
Great to see Brad Newley back in the NBL. He's got 7 points at quarter time. Big Marriage was looking okay as well early on before row of the grid. So an armour or pole goes to ejections from Mitch Young. Brisbane Bullets edging it after the first quarter, 17-14. And they've got the first possession of the second.
Okay. Leave it there, Tommy.
Petrie, former Adelaide 36er. Jervis, who came from the Wildcats. Tory Craig from Cairns. So they've done their recruiting as a start-up franchise again, really. First time back in the league since 2008, the Brisbane Bullets. Both imports now on the floor for Sydney, Whittington and Bryson. They struck up a good bond off the court. Newley, not afraid to shoot in this one. That's a great board from Garlop. Finish it off though. A miss from close range from Tom Garlop. He's still making his way down the floor. So they should have the opportunity to get an open shot. And they get a foul out of Whittington.
Number 2.
And just at the other end then, I think Tom Garlop's going to have an interesting role this year. He's clearly one of the best players for the Kings last year and one of the leading scorers in that team. He'll have to accept the role coming off the bench, and I think he needs to play that passer-feeder spot in the shuffle that a Warwick Giddy used to play when they were so successful. Score when you can, but make the open pass as well on those cuts.
And Warwick Giddy had it in the early stages, and Stephen Hoare perfected it as well a little later on. Very valuable to those organizations.
In and out.
Molo back into the game for Whittington, who's already got 3 fouls to his name. So it's not just Marriage in foul trouble. So their import. And a foul call. Kings can't believe the call, but Kenyon is going to go to the line.
And as much as he hates that, he definitely got him on the arm, Steve.
I mean, he was going to shoot a very tough shot. He gets bailed out, goes to the line. Matt Kenyon getting some good, valuable minutes here. They like it. They like him on the defensive end of the floor, too, even though he was a prolific scorer for the New South Wales under-20s team.
18.5 points a game and 9 rebounds a game at the under-20 national championships earlier this year.
Hands up, hands.
Out of Hunter Sports High.
Don't hold him, don't hold.
Garlop.
Go through, Bossy.
Soft foul called on Petrie. Garlop saying, can I have 2 shots? I don't think he's going to be so fortunate.
First one.
Clearly fouled
And then line.
on the ground. Time for the first time out of the game We can get a little insight into what Andrew Gaze thinks about coaching.
Excited, anxious, determined. There's a whole lot of adjectives you could use to describe how I'm feeling right now, but you know, pretty content with where we're at, and looking forward to what lies ahead. But it's going to take some work, and you know, not having Julian yet causes some sleepless nights, and trying to still fill out our roster, depending on what happens with Julian, is a big part of what's going through our head right now.
And lose the ball, all right? We look small on the boards. You got to rebound. Everyone get on the glass. Hey, right now, Sydney. Is it baseline or sideline? Baseline. Comment. 1, 2, 3.
Most coaches go into the game. Lindsay Gaze, he was in charge of Andrew Gaze's rookie game all those years ago in 1984 against the Brisbane Bullets. He's here to check on Andrew in his first game as coach as a 51-year-old. He's already got the grey hair, so where to now for Gaze?
I guess bald. That's what comes after that. But how about Lindsay rocking that hat?
Now Lish, a handy recruit to have in your first game as a coach. They've got active hands, haven't they, the Brisbane Bullets, creating their fair share of turnovers. Now Bruce to Torrey Craig. Kick it against Moller. I'll show the youngster a trick or two. Still kick it. He's been tough to stop. Torrey Craig in for the offensive rebound and the putback.
He's a hell of an athlete. We probably didn't see as much of him as I would have liked last season with the Cairns Taipans, but a bigger role now for the Brisbane Bullets, and I think he's going to have a great season.
He used to come off the bench for Cairns and score 20 points some nights. Now Bryson for three. And he is a shooter out of California, and he buries his first three-point attempt in the NBL. Both these Sydney Kings imports hopeful of playing in the NBA after honing their skills down under for a season or two. Nice range from Torrey Craig for the two.
It's funny, it looks like Sydney looked just like the Brisbane Bullets did in the first half of their game. They just look a little tentative, haven't worked out the kinks yet. And Brisbane are just firing after that good second half that they had against Perth.
Bruce pushing it. And the offensive foul as he pushed Bryson away.
And I think with the talent that has come to the Sydney Kings, as well as Andrew Gaze, probably the smartest basketball ever in Australian basketball, I think they really now need to dig deep in these moments. Last season they folded. They'd be down 24-17 halfway through the second quarter and they folded. They've now got the guys with the experience, the coaches with the experience. Can they bounce back?
So Marich back out there with those two fouls to his name. Still more than half of the second quarter to go. Lish for three. Got to his spot, got the look he was after. Kept alive by Moller, but only to the advantage of Torrey Craig. Now Kickett for three. Oh, he saw Petrie on the move. That was a nice disguise from Kickett. And Petrie can go to the line.
Good recognition of that mismatch. And Jason Cadee on his back. When Jason rode him way out of bounds, too, he made sure that wasn't going to be close to any kind of a three-point play.
Just because he's in the air, no, Brad, get Michael. Get Michael. Just because he's in the air, that's all.
Bryson out of the game for Newley.
Number 24, Michael Bryson.
Kings leading scorer tonight back into the game, Brad Newley, with 7 to his name. And Petrie hearing the boos.
Right here, guys. Right.
Well, it's been a pretty non-event offensively for the Sydney Kings. Started off well, but are now 7 for 25 from the field and only been to the foul line twice.
And I know Andrew Gaze, with the shuffle offense and the way the Tigers used to play, they love getting some cheap ones. They get out and run the floor, but the nice little back cuts and the layups. So we haven't seen too much of that yet.
Lish. Screen set by Maric. Lish has been off so far, the reigning MVP, a two-time MVP. Kadee for three. The man who lit it up in that pre-season three-point competition.
That's a huge offensive rebound by Moeller, considering the result. And then there's the mental error.
I do like his energy, though. He's crashed the offensive glass hard. Again, like you said, a mental error there, reaching in, but as a young fella, you just want to get in and provide some energy, when clearly it's been lacking so far in this first half.
And Moller's got the defensive assignment on Daniel Kickett. Now Craig takes on Maric, and it's another foul on the big man. Blew past Brad Newley and left Maric with little option. But in the foul trouble, maybe let him go.
It looked like that's what he was giving him.
Wasn't a lot in that. Brought the hands down, I think, which is what did it for him in the end. He jumped straight up, and in the last second, brought the right hand down and just caught the wrist of Torrey Craig.
Jeremy Hill now the biggest man out there for the Kings. A big man from North Queensland. Moller tipped it away, but only for the benefit of Kickett. And after missing both free throws, they get 2 points anyway, the visitors. And they lead by 8. Newley again. Comes back to Australia at a great age. 31 years of age now, Brad Newley. Looking really good here. Moller picks up the scraps again.
You know, even when Sydney get a rebound, it's not like they're getting it clean.
That provides a bit of a spark. Kevin Lish will go to the line for 2, and Andrew Gaze was celebrating.
2 shots.
Feels like they finally got a call at their end.
And as a scorer, Steve, when you're struggling a little bit to get in the flow, there's no better way to start seeing that ball go through the hoop than get a couple of cheap ones from the foul line.
I know you know that.
Kevin Lish just appeared on the free agency list for a moment, and the Sydney Kings happened to be scouting that, and they said, oh, hang on a minute, we'll inquire about Kevin Lish's services for next season, and they got their man.
And not only is he a great player, but, you know, you're trying to build a culture, and that's the type of guy you want to have. He's a great teammate. You know, he's great in the community, and, you know, you get guys like that, then just good things are going to happen.
A blank check didn't hurt either.
And no longer an import, of course, after becoming an Aussie 5 months before he played at the Rio Olympics. But a lot of the talk tonight about Andrew Gaze in his first game as a coach. What a player he was. You guys both played against him.
Absolutely. I mean, without doubt, hands down the best basketball ever. And I joked before about the defense with Andrew Gaze, but what a competitor. When a big shot needed to be made at any level, the Olympics, in grand finals, anywhere, anytime, this guy performed. And we talked earlier about his average in this stadium was just a fraction over 30. And Steve, that's almost disappointing for Andrew.
No kidding. I mean, when he first came into the league, I mean, he's just, you talk about a great person, but a great player. When he first came into the league, he was, you know, good away from the ball.
Pay attention, put the onus on the officials to make some calls. You'll get one eventually. You'll get a call against So play through it. Hey, next time, next few plays down the floor, thirds, corners. Corners, Jace, Kev, when you're coming off this, in down, get it. Straight away, if it's not on, re-screen it and try.
I'll tell you a funny story about Andrew Gaze in my first season. We're at half court and there was a stoppage in play and he walked along me for the whole half court there talking to me, asking how it was I enjoying my first year in the NBL, and right on the back and smiling at me, he cut back door on 2 points, and as he run back down, gave me a little wink.
And Steve, your defensive assignment when you really put the clamps on him.
Yeah, we played him at the State Sports Center. I did a great job on him, just focused the whole game, and he still had 38. And then they asked me in the press conference, you know, how did I think I win against him? I told him I thought I played great, because if I wasn't on him, he would have had 60.
Petrie on Moller, hangs in the air to go off glass, and there's a little bit going on between Jeremy Hill and Tom Jervis that the referee wanted to get on top of.
Nothing silly, all right? Nothing silly. Okay, Matt.
And you're rebuilding a franchise. Handy man to get in charge, Andre Lemanis. All that championship success for the New Zealand Breakers, and almost got that medal for Australia in Rio.
So close. They're checking to see if Kevin Litch was bleeding. Well, either you're bleeding or you're not. I don't know what the controversy was.
No. Hey, hook him! Hey, hook! Hands, see your hands!
Now Hill down low against Jervis. Nice little fake to get Jervis in the air, and then the finish.
Played the offseason for the Norse Bears in the Waratah Championship League, dropping big numbers and big rebounds.
And they're going at it. Down under the basket at both ends. Rims out from Petrie. Good hands from Hewlett just to upset Jervis. And the Kings take it away again. A chance to narrow the margin. Lish for three. And they're back within one.
And we always say that when you get a stop at the other end, and that's the opportunity to push the ball, there's no loss to Kevin Lish taking that one.
Now Petrie got the step on Moller. Upset about not getting the finish for the and one.
9.
You know, Brisbane are just going about their business. They're getting whatever they want, whenever they want.
Okay, guys.
And Sydney are doing just a great job of staying in the game because they're not playing as well as Brisbane are. I have to keep reminding myself that the score is tight and looking at the scoreboard.
Line up, please.
But I think Brisbane this year will be a bit like that. They have a great coach. He'll get them used to running his systems over 5 or 6 weeks. They're probably not there yet, but you know they're going to hang tough. They've got some great Australian talent, some good imports. The foundations of making a great team.
Hey, quick guys. Wait.
Good crowd in at Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney. New home court of the Sydney Kings. They were here around the turn of the century. Back 99 to 2002. After saying farewell to the Entertainment Centre, this is their new home. Newley. Hill. He gets the step. Oh, should have finished too after getting the better of Kickett. Now Bruce waits for Jermaine Beal to come off the screen. Back to Beal. Haven't seen him pull the trigger from long range yet. And another foul called on the Kings, and he can go to the line for 2.
2 shots.
Well, he can really line it up. 10 3-pointers in the game for the Perth Wildcats. And of course, he's got such good hesitation moves. Shows his feet for that shot and gets you to lean a little bit forward, and he's gone.
And down the stretch in games, and certainly later in the season as we get close to playoffs, he's a big game performer. He hits big shots. And like I said, when you want to build a franchise, it's not just getting a great American, it's getting an American who likes the big moments and can grab them. And see, Dollar Bill certainly can.
Into the game for the Kings, number 14, they got Tommy Garland for number 9.
He's fearless. Anybody that can go 0 for 14 from the field and then bounce back and have a big one.
40 points in that game when he hit those 10 threes. Kadee, and the pass back from Newley, and the finish. Kadee working hard to go with Sean Bruce. Kick it, backing Hill down, and he ties him up. Oh, the foul is called. Kings thought they were looking at a jump ball situation there. Referee saw it otherwise.
They will be looking at this screen. And you know, with this big screen in this building, the refs will be looking anywhere but up.
Tough to miss. Biggest screen at an indoor arena in the Southern Hemisphere.
It is amazing.
That height rail we saw before tip-off was amazing as well. They're doing a great job here to provide the pizzazz. Now they just want a team to back it up on the court after missing the playoffs in recent seasons. Long time since the glory days under Brian Goorjian. Beal getting a hand in the face of Kevin Lish. Still finds room for three, and he's fouled. He'll take 3 shots. Andrew Gaze getting some return for all his hassling of the referees.
And you're starting to see the Sydney Kings pick apart the defense a little, and I think as time goes on, they'll get better at that. Reading the defense, maybe cutting one way, stepping back as Kevin Lish did, then finding the open 3 in the corner. That's going to take time. It's a whole new system.
Dean Vickerman said it's going to take time getting used to not being the main man anymore. It's all about offering suggestions to Andrew Gaze and see whether he takes them on board.
Well, he has Andrew's ear, that's for sure. The training sessions, and they've had a very disrupted training. And Andrew Gaze was at the Olympic Games calling it. Kevin Lish was there. The imports came in late. It just seemed like every time somebody would come in, they'd have to start all over again.
I think the best thing Andrew Gaze did is bring in a strong right-hand man like Dean Vickerman. You look at the former players in any sport. The James Hurds, for example, in the AFL, brought in Mark Thompson, a veteran coach who'd won before. I think having a guy like that is fantastic for him in moments where he may need to see something different.
He's no stranger to backing up Andrew Gaze. He did it at the Melbourne Tigers back in the 90s. For a season or two, around 25 games, he was off the bench behind Andrew Gaze himself, Dean Vickerman, and came through the Melbourne Tigers system. Kings thought there was a fast break opportunity there. Instead, they get the shot clock violation. Good D from Hill.
And he had to leave that call that he felt like he was hard done by behind. And stays right in there on that one, get the shot clock violation.
And the Kings are staying in there, as you mentioned earlier. Surprised to see them only down 2 here, and they've got the possession late in this second quarter.
Shooting percentages really jumped up at least 10 points at 37% now. Let's listen up.
We've got a minute left here, and we can address them through the halftime. All right. This one here, we've got the green. All right, green back to the pack. Stay connected to shooters, which is a hot guy. Make sure we're boxing out. Offensively, when we get it, we're flowing down. If you come down, get a reverse, we go slow doubles. If the downstream guys are starting to get into lanes. All right, if the high guys denied, take it in, turn it across, and we're good. We're trying to manufacture too much shit early. And again, our high lows, we work, we look. Quick look, all right, if it's a hard show, you get it on. Quick look, if it's not there, you got back cut. Or let's get some handoffs coming off that. Just throw handoffs.
Just catch quicker.
Yeah.
Like I'm open a little bit earlier.
All right, we've got 1 minute here. All right, just have a good solid minute here. Here we go, 1, 2, 3.
I asked Dean Vickerman the other day what impressed him most about working under Lamanis, and he said the way he was able to adjust his tactics with the talents of his team. He's got to do that again now.
Well, if you're going to last a long time in this league as a professional coach, you got to be able to do that. You're not going to have the same type of talent. And, you know, clearly, you know, under Ian Stacker, he's learned from some good people. Brian Gorgian, he's been able to get his own style.
Waiting for movement in the shuffle offense. Kevin Lish, long way behind the perimeter. Takes on the 3 again. And Hill was getting in there and looked favourite for the rebound. Second touch off the rim. Saw it ricochet to Torrey Craig. Now Beal. Hill getting out to stop the three-point attempt from Jermaine Beal. Shot clock running down here for Petrie. Might have to jack one up. And again, the athleticism of Torrey Craig with the offensive rebound, and another 2 for him.
Those are just coach killers. They force them to take a low percentage shot, and they get the offensive rebound and the easy putback.
Newley can't finish. Still time for Gibson to beat the buzzer. He was riding that one. An impressive first up performance it was from the Brisbane Bullets on Thursday night, and they're backing it up on the road in the Sydney Kings home opener. They lead it at halftime, 38-34. Let's go to James Harvey.
And Brad, first up, the Brisbane Bullets, they took the energy out of the building. You guys got off to a great start. What do you think the keys are in the second half to get that energy back?
Well, it's our first game in the building. We're always going to come out pumped up. But we've maintained a decent kind of break. Now just come out and focus for the second half.
And we were talking during the game, the boys, how we think that the NBL suits your style of play. We saw you rip through, nice little crossover, get to the rim. How does it feel to be back, and what are the differences in this league compared to Europe?
Why would I waste my time going to Europe for 10 years if that was the case? No, it's good to be back out here. Important now to focus and be ready for the second half. It's fun to be home, and yeah, let's keep it going.
Good luck in the second half, mate.
Yeah, Newley leads the way for the Kings with 9 points. It's Daniel Kickett with a game-high 13 so far. The Bullets by 4 at halftime. We'll take a look at the halftime highlights right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever Sydney Kings Baby Races! Ladies and gentlemen, we have babies from across the state, some across the country and around the world who have come here to compete, to be the fastest Sydney Kings baby in history. This is the first time we've ever done this. Are you ready for the first ever baby race? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us meet our baby race contestants. First off, in t-shirt number 1. Where are you? Number 1, see the number here. T-shirt number 1, weighing in at 10 kilos. We have 1-year-old Zachary Kodari. Nappy looks empty, that's a good thing. In lane and shirt number 2. Oh, she's crying. She's crying. Shirt number 2, his sibling and closest rival, Zara Kodari. Come on, it's in the babies. You don't want them to cry. Shirt number 3, she's known for her quick starts, Vivian Aquilina. In shirt number 4, topping the chart at 73 centimetres long. You are a long baby. Nicholas Burke. Our next baby in shirt 5, the tallest competitor in the group. Maybe a future king right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bo Kendall. Okay, next up, shirt number 6. Look out for her finish. She's a big finisher. Alex Donnelly.
Yes, they were a dynamic duo, Copeland and Gaze, back in the 90s, and now their first game as a coaching duo tonight. How are you assessing what they've done so far with these Kings?
Oh, you can coach the best you can possibly coach with your team not making shots, and they just went through a real dull patch there where they couldn't put the ball in the basket, executing, getting some good shot attempts, but weren't able to get them to go down.
Yeah, 35% from the field, not good enough halves.
No, absolutely not. But as Steve said during the telecast, they ramped that up in the second quarter. It was even worse than that. But when you look at the score, Brisbane Bullets only up 4. That is surprising. Having sat there through 2 quarters, you felt they should have been up a lot more than that.
Brad Yulee came out of the gates on fire in his first game in the NBL since 07.
He sure did. I mean, he does everything well. And like James Harvey said, this style of play really suits him. He can put the ball on the floor, and he, as you see there, he can finish. And he's got such size. He's 6'7" and strong too, deceptively strong. But the Kings, when they're moving the basketball around and sticking shots like that, look good. But Brisbane, everyone talks about, you know, the various teams around the league, but they really loaded up very well. And I think they're going to be one of the tougher teams in the competition. They're so well coached, and they put this team together very, very good. And with Andrew Gaze talking about Julian Kazoo being out, he needs guys like that. Jeremy Hill to come up and step up. These guys really going deep into his bench as far as the big men already. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the hole in the Sydney Kings lineup, which is in the big man department.
Yeah, they were really worried about that, weren't they? And then the foul trouble for Marriage. So Kickett was able to take on all comers in the low post.
Absolutely. And he had a variety of moves. We talked about it during the telecast. He can score in a multitude of ways. You see here, he's backing in the smaller Whittakin, little up fake, little jump hook, and got himself to the line to get himself going. He can stick the 3 as well as any big in the NBL. He's just a fantastic scorer, and those 13 points have been the catalyst to the 4-point Brisbane Bullets lead.
Yeah, he has the game high. Jeremy Hill got the assignment late in that second quarter, but he's looking like he could be a difference maker tonight, the former Melbourne United captain. And going the other way for the Sydney Kings, it was Brad Yulee, as we mentioned, who came out of the gates, and it's great to see him back in the NBL and ready to play. They were really happy with what they saw in pre-season, and he's delivering game 1.
Oh, absolutely. Not only just Brad Newley, but lots of players in this league coming back from Europe. He's done a great job, and he's a great player. And great to see these Australian-born players coming back and playing for clubs here in Australia. But like we talked about, he is the triple threat. He can put the ball on the floor and score. He can stick the catch and shoot. He can create shots, and with his size, jump over smaller opponents, and he can post up as well. So he's a scoring package, and defensively, he's underrated too with all that wingspan.
You've done well to get through that, boys. It was an absolute commotion in here with the first ever baby race at the Kudos Bank Arena. But let's check in on Andrew Gaze, who's back in the rooms, revving up his troops.
We're hanging tough and we're staying with it. And if you look at this margin and say, well, what are some of the very simple correctable things that we can do to fix this? Is one is we've got to rebound. You know, it's been our problem right throughout the pre-season. We identify it. But tonight, fellas, there's 8 points directly from catch it, stick it back up, and it's a gut layup for him. Now, a lot of the times we've got those switches, Jace. I think you got caught out one time. Our littles, you got to get in there. Get in there, take up some space, block out, and then just get after the ball. But if we...
It's amazing behind-the-scenes access we're getting with Andrew Gaze tonight. Can he get a win first up as a coach? We're going to find out in the second half. Tip-off in the third quarter coming up after this.
Andre, you guys played extremely well. Looks like you worked out the kinks in game one, especially that first half. But it looks like you should be up by more.
Yeah, it's about finishing plays, I think, and staying disciplined on every possession. We've also given up 7 offensive rebounds, which allows them to hang in the game and understanding who the shooters are. Obviously, we've got to execute our scouts a little bit better and staying just with the attention to detail on those little things in order to, over the course of the game, be able to wear them down.
All right, thanks, Andre.
Thanks, mate. I'll give you a long answer.
Welcome back to Kudos Bank Arena. The Bullets by 4 at half-time. Let's hear from their coach standing by with Steve Carpino.
Andre, you guys played extremely well. Looks like you worked out the kinks in game one, especially that first half. But it looks like you should be up by more.
Yeah, it's about finishing plays, I think, and staying disciplined on every possession. We've also given up 7 offensive rebounds, which allows them to hang in the game and understanding who the shooters are. Obviously, we've got to execute our scouts a little bit better and staying just with the attention to detail on those little things in order to, over the course of the game, be able to wear them down.
All right, thanks, Andre.
Thanks, mate. I'll give you a long...
Talks about scouting there. They got the chance to take on each other in pre-season. Kings were up by about 15 or 17 in the first quarter and got rolled by the Bullets in the end, but they've gone to that video extensively ahead of this one?
Probably not. I mean, you take it with a grain of salt in the preseason. You're giving all sorts of guys a lot of minutes. We always used to talk about different guys stepping up in the preseason, having 25 and 30, and then they'd barely play in the season. So I tell you what, though, every time I see Andre Lemanis, I just want to give him a hug. What happened against Spain in that bronze medal playoff is hard to overcome. As an Australian basketball fan, sitting up 3 in the morning watching that, one of the most heartbreaking sporting moments ever. I just want to go out there and give him a cuddle.
And he got great support around the country. Even people that aren't real basketball fans really got behind the team. And they executed so well. You know, they played the U.S. real strong, you know, and got themselves in a position to win a gold medal, and hopefully we'll be right back there again.
I was there for that semi-final, the flattest I've ever been as an Australian sports fan, watching that start against Serbia. And I was sitting in front of Andrew Gaze, who wore out the tread in his shoe as he kept on kicking the ground in frustration when they couldn't get any scores. We'll see whether his team tonight can get rolling in this third quarter. Maric in that foul trouble. They go straight to him, and he's on the board in the third quarter.
He has got to stay out of foul trouble. And with those strong seals down low, that gives them a lot of punch in their half-court offense.
Now Kickett, game highest scorer so far. Posting up Whittington, who's also in foul trouble. And a lovely little finish on the left from Kickett.
And he's such a good passer out of the low block. That's why he's got so much time to go down there and just keep pivoting and getting closer to the basket.
Maric had to be careful throwing those elbows around, not to pick up an offensive foul, which was the cheap one he got early. Now it's Jervis with a little hand in on Lish.
And I'd really like to see the Kings use both Jason Kadee and Kevin Lish in on-balls more often. I think swinging the ball to the wing and getting their bigs like an Alex Maric or even a Whittington, getting there, setting the screen and rolling hard, opens up the floor for them.
Now Maric again, trying to dump it off to Newley. Great D. And now the easy basket for Gibson.
Gibson. Little mental error by the guards, letting somebody slip behind them. You got to be obviously the safety and not give up anything cheap like that.
First points of the night from Adam Gibson. Lish, extra pass to Newley, wide open. Maric there for the offensive board. He's clattered by Gibson.
And the reality is, if Alex Maric is going to get in foul trouble, when he is on the floor, they need to go to him time and time again. Get him rolling to the hoop, as Steve said. Big seals, finish, knock down 2 free throws as well. But they've got to utilise him when he's in the game, if it's only going to be for 13 or 14 minutes.
And Adam Gibson putting Maric to the line. And when you have to foul a guy like that, he's so strong. You got to go in there with both hands and really hammer down.
Already in front with the miss of the first from Maric. Sydney boy playing in the NBL for the first time. Went to the University of Nebraska for 4 years and then all that time in Europe before coming back to play as a 31-year-old back home. Gibson's foul worked wonders for Brisbane. Last touch off Lish. Gibson said he would have been a Brisbane Bullet for life if they hadn't folded in 08. And he's called for the offensive foul this time. And Andrew Gaze breathes a huge sigh of relief because Maric was on the scene.
And I'm really glad to see Adam Gibson playing well to start the season. He played well the other night. So far, so good here. The disappointment of missing that Boomers team, particularly with his NBL head coach now, Andre Lamanis being the one who cut him. I think it's been great for him to get off to a good start, show some confidence and leave that behind him.
Maric's been camped in there too long. Kevin Lish with the hesitation just cost the big man.
Trying to get rebounding position. We saw the last time on that charge, it's the second time that they've called pushing off, and we saw in that angle, Adam Gibson really did push off with that offhand.
Great hands from Jervis. Well, whoever gets the foul is in big trouble. It's either Whittington or Maric, and it's Maric who's got 4 now. And he's not going to be on the court for much longer. Tom Garlett called upon. The fear coming in, being realised as Andrew Gaze looks up at the board and sees 4 fouls against Alex Marriage.
And that's not a good sign. Alex Marriage going out. Kings are getting absolutely pumped on the boards, 27-16.
I've got that lead out to the kind of lead Steve Carfino thinks Brisbane should be enjoying, almost double digits. Kings need to get on a roll here to get the crowd back into it. Good screen set by Garland, and Lish finds his spot. Is that the spark for the reigning MVP? Good hands from Whittington. Those long arms and the finish as well. Quick 4 points for the Kings, and timeout being called, is it? No.
And their defense creating the offense. That's a great finish by Whittington. You see here, it's up and in, gets a little deflection, which coaches love. Gets out onto the races and finishes beautifully over the top of Kickett, who tries to play good D, but doesn't matter.
He couldn't play any better D than that.
They'll be trying to step it up at the defensive end as well. But Jervis found some space for the duck right down the middle. He provided some great minutes for the Perth Wildcats in their championship win last season. Lish was hoping for the call. Good readjustment when the whistle didn't come. But Kadee asking for a foul that he never got. Now Beale. Oh, that's a lovely pass to Jervis.
And you can't teach that, but you see the Perth Wildcats experience, the two-man game. They would have trained so often together with the Wildcats, run that play over and over and over, and you could see a beautiful little two-man game.
Now Whittington for 3. A little long.
Just rush that. You just see the cracks starting to come, a little bit of a team that hasn't been together for quite some time. In an opening night when the Perth Wildcats are playing against the Brisbane Bullets, even though their 2 of the 3 imports didn't play very well, the core of the Perth lineup kept them in a game where they were getting outplayed.
That's what we said earlier about the Brisbane Bullets. They've got a foundation of a great team. They've got toughness in their Australians. They've got some flair in their Americans, but at the same time, guys that can step up and make big shots late in games.
Good hands from Bryson. Tip away the pass from Bruce. Plenty of contact for Lish to deal with. Whittington turned down the long-range shot initially. Garland crying out for a foul. Beale takes it away. Foul on Bryson this time.
Come in.
Young Kenyon coming back into the game for the visitors. Getting some good minutes tonight. A highly rated 18-year-old. Now Bruce. And again Jervis. Whittington was there, but Jervis too big and strong down low.
And you can see the ability, which is underrated of Australian basketballers, to run the pick and roll. You see Bruce there just widened nicely. The defense got caught in between. Beautiful little bounce pass, and again, a big that can finish at the rim.
Jervis, the second bullet into double figures tonight. And they lead by double digits as well. Kenyon doing a great job on Newley. Garland puts a move on Jervis, looking for the and 1. Go to the line for 2 instead.
And Harv, like you said in the first half, these are tough shots the Sydney Kings have to make, and the shuffle when Andrew was playing it with Leonard Copeland, and when we saw Stephen Hoare playing the passer. A lot of cheap baskets, you know, and this team just hasn't been together long enough for them to know all those little wrinkles and all those counters that the shuffle offers.
And as a defender or the defensive team, because you're so aware of those back cuts, it then frees up the other stuff. You're on your heels as a defender because you don't want Copeland to go backdoor and get an alley-oop. Andrew Gay's backdoor for a layup. So then it frees up the whole rest of the area of the offense for them to get the ball where they want and knock down perimeter shots.
Was it almost unique to the Melbourne Tigers? You guys never ran this shuffle offense at any of the clubs you played for?
Yeah, but you come up against the Melbourne Tigers and you know you have to play it, so the scout team would be running it, and it was like you knew it as well. Okay. And still it was difficult to defend.
Petrie, nice pass to Mitch Young, who's providing great output in his limited minutes tonight.
And I've said it before, but I still have to look up at the scoreboard. It feels like a 20-point game.
Kenyon slipped. Back to his feet. Newley found Whittington. And he'll go to the stripe.
You know, a score here, a stop, and a three-pointer in transition. And it's like Brisbane haven't dominated this game like they have.
And although you talked about only the 11-point lead to the Bullets when it feels like 20, you just start to get that feeling in this gym right now. The fans are getting a little anxious. The Sydney Kings are turning to the officials and asking about calls. It's a little dangerous time now for the Sydney Kings. So like you said, they need to stop and they need to get some scores.
Whittington, who went to Georgetown, which has had some wonderful players go through there. Patrick Ewing, Alonzo Mourning, and Allen Iverson. He only spent a year and a half playing ball for Georgetown, though. Had some shocking luck with injuries. Whittington, a couple of ACLs. Big contact. Petrie with the screen on Bryson. Did well to keep his feet.
Come on, Sydney, make some noise. Let's get up.
Great spot from Petrie to Kenyon. And Petrie scrapping on the boards. Gets out of the key in time.
Go, Kings, go! Go, Kings, go!
Seeing a lot of those calls.
I think that's the correct call, but we ain't getting that shit down there. That's my problem. It's heavily lopsided. I'm not saying that's not a foul. Yeah.
He's got a good point. Very good point. You know, they're putting it on the floor, and we haven't seen really anything called on the hand checking there. But, I mean, and on the flip side of that, Brisbane are putting it on the floor better.
All the way out.
Lish takes it away from Torrey Craig. Lish all the way, contact with Kenyon. No whistle for Lish. That's going to further infuriate Andrew Gaze. Now Bruce, little hesitation. Blocked by a combination of Hill and Bryson. Mitch Young got Whittington in the air. And Young again on the follow-up. They're getting so many second chance opportunities.
They are lucky not to be down 20.
Okay, guys. Here we go, guys.
And Lish went for that one. I thought he had Brad Newley ahead. He kind of missed that one, ended up taking a tough shot.
Brad Newley is a greyhound, and that's the thing that people will remember about him, and he still was able to do that in Europe. Toss it ahead to him and let him finish that bucket.
And especially when you're struggling to get scores. Keep an eye on that rebound count. 34 to 16.
Kadee and Bryson in the backcourt at the moment. Lish taking a seat again. Newley. And he pushed Bruce out of the way. That was an easy call. Offensive foul on Brad Newley, and the frustration grows for the Kings.
The Sydney Kings need to be careful not to stand around and watch. They have some amazing scorers, Kevin Lish, Brad Newley, Jason Cadee at times. Just be careful to keep moving the ball, get some continuity in offense, and not always go one out.
Here we go.
He's searching for answers, calling on the services of Moller again. Corey Craig. Again, it's an offensive rebound. Petrie can't stick it away, and Whittington eventually brings it under his control. Cadee for three. Swish. And that's what they need. A few of those from Jason Cadee, the home team. He's now 2 of 4 from long range. Hill, and one from Sean Bruce to silence the crowd who are up and about after the 3 from Cadee.
He is again having another solid game off the bench. His decision making on the screen and rolls that time, good timely bucket by him. He's been looking for dishes and kind of surprised Hill on that one as he turned the corner.
And he's probably been in his brother Aaron Bruce's shadow for a long period of time. Aaron had a great career in college, came back and had a good career in the NBL before retiring. And you're starting to see some glimpses now with Sean Bruce as they're really stepping up and taking that mantle in that family backyard one-on-one.
He was cheering on Sydney last week, the Sydney Swans, that is. His good mate Jake Lloyd from back in Horsham, playing for the Swans in the big one. But now he's the enemy of the Sydney Kings. Takes a rest after the 3-point play. Lee quickly back out to 10. Again, no fluency in the shuffle. Hill has to try and make something happen. Got stuck in the key, jacked it up and gets the 2. But there wasn't a lot to like about the way they ran that one. Now Beal. Little 2-man game with Petrie. Good hands from Moller. Stopping the former 36er and Razorback. Whittington. Got a great leap on him. Bryson's the one who prefers to dunk out of the 2 imports suiting up for the Kings tonight. Again, Hill. Little burst from Jeremy Hill.
We saw Brisbane do that to the Perth Wildcats in game 1, force the switch and then take advantage of the mismatch.
So can the Sydney Kings return to the glory days of Brian Goorjian? Andrew Gay's charged with that responsibility. Think back to around 2003. We'll have a look at the championship year that time around with the hammer heel.
That kills me watching this. I don't want to watch it. I was on that Perth Wildcats team that infamously gave up a 7 or 8 point lead with about 1:50 to go and gave them game 1 at the Kingdome. And I think things could have been very different if we'd gone home up 1-0. Instead, they took that momentum and Shane Hill's team took their first championship in the National Basketball League.
And those were you guys were the best 2 teams all year. It was a great final between Perth and Sydney.
That was the first of 3 in a row.
Moller, don't ignore him. If he's wide open on that cut, look for it. Then we get him a pick and roll here, pick and pop. Bro, hey, you get it here. Where? That could be, you got this or this. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, Kings.
That connection with Brian Goorjian goes on because he's got Bo Liu on the roster for the Kings, the Chinese player, waiting to play his minutes tonight and become the first Chinese player ever to appear in an NBL game. Doesn't look like he's going to get out there anytime soon, but these games being beamed live to China now, each and every one of the NBL this season. I'm sure they're waiting for him to get out on court. And Brian Goorjian coached him at the Shenzhen Leopards up in China and let Gaze know about it. Great D from Hill, doing it at both ends. Now Bryson, the shooter, for 3. And a little off that time, but anytime he's open, he's going to take on the long-range shot.
That's a good look, too. Good feed, catches it in rhythm.
Couple of seconds between the game clock and the shot clock. And Gibson running it down. Now Craig makes his move. Great D from Sydney. And it's going to be a travel call. That's what Brisbane wants. Whittington thought that was the 3/4 time buzzer, but it was the shot clock expiring. And what are the referees going to say? They're going to say King's ball. And that's the common sense one.
It does.
Mind you, Lamanis will be saying it was a lack of common sense.
He did. He took the ball out of the box. It's a trouble. That's his decision. Here we go.
And they get a shot off. Hill won't have time. So a strange old end to the 3rd quarter. And Sydney are within striking distance despite being outplayed by the Brisbane Bullets. The visitors in control. They lead 56-50 with 1 quarter to go. Join us after the break at Kudos. Opening night for the Sydney Kings with Kevin Lish trying to run the show for them, but they're in a hole at 3/4 time, down by 6, but a nice little 4-0 run to end the 3rd quarter. Keeps them within touching distance as they try and get this crowd on their feet at Kudos Bank Arena. They're getting killed on the boards though, all told, and also the offensive rebounds. Brisbane lead that 14-8.
That's the biggest stat in the game.
Kings need some stops. Bryson with good hands and the hustle, but it's out of bounds against Bryson.
You gotta grab that with 2 hands. Just casually reached out with his arm, got knocked off balance and lost it. Watch this, just grab that thing. Just a little too casual with it. His team, they need something. They needed that deflection to turn into 2 points.
The Sydney Kings, surprisingly, the tallest team across the board in the NBL, and I think you saw there some deflections and some long arms. I think if they're going to be a successful defensive unit, it's not going to be up and in. It's being able to follow the ball with these long arms, particularly these Americans, get deflections and then get out to the races.
Yeah, that average height just a tick under 2 metres apiece coming into this game. I reckon Josh Powell's going to blow that over 2 metres when he joins the lineup for next Thursday night's game in Wollongong. That's good D again, stopping Beal. Moller wants it thrown up by Bryson, but he saw him too late. Bryson takes on the 3 instead. And Craig brings it down. He's been a monster on the boards. He's got 13 to his credit. That's a travel from Tory Craig. You might get away with that in the NBA, but this referee right on top of it.
You know, those happen a lot, really. Kind of just a little lazy and a little loose with his footwork. What? It'll be about 4 steps. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Whenever they put it in slow motion, it looks really bad.
I don't know. It had 0 impact on the game. Guys do it all in every quarter.
Yeah, and you just wonder why it was called then, because I've seen worse travels called. Well, I've seen worse travels in this game.
Lish for 3. Is that a big moment for the Sydney Kings? They've got the margin back to 3 now. Now Kicken bumps off Moller. It's an offensive foul called on Kicken. Suddenly things are going the way of the Sydney Kings.
Well, they get 2 good calls their way. Good for Sydney anyway. That travel and then that one. Get another look.
I mean, just on that foul call there on kick it, and that's a young fella, one of the best bigs in the NBL, penetrating to his right hand, a little bump into the jump hook. I mean, that's a no call every day of the week.
Let's see if Sydney can capitalize on that good fortune.
Moller going and kick it at the other end. I reckon the message might have been, let's get it in the hands of this guy a bit more in the last quarter. Kevin Lish. Risky pass around the corner from Moller, but the foul on Bruce.
That's it. They forced the mismatch on the switch.
Good movement this time, and Hill. Oh, what a move from Jeremy Hill. And what? A chance to tie it up out of nowhere. The Sydney Kings right back in this one.
It's been some of the unsung heroes for the Kings. You see Jeremy Hill there. His last 5 or 6 minutes at the end of the second quarter, as well as now, have been key to keeping the Sydney Kings in it. And who would have thought we could have a tie ball game?
We do. Jeremy Hill with 9 points on 80% shooting from the field. And he really provided the spark late in that third quarter as well. Now the crowd really making some noise at Kudos Bank Arena. Hands again from Moller. He's scrapping for everything, the former Docker. Gibson for 3 in the silencer. Huge basket from the Boomer.
There are some guys out here who aren't afraid to take the big shot, so I'm hoping this thing stays close.
Speaking of which, Kevin Lish for 3 and the answer.
Oh, man. When you said that, I was thinking of him, and all I thought of was, man, I wish I said that. And then Lish backs it up to put the exclamation point on your point. Bang.
It's all about timing. You taught me that.
You can just feel it. Nobody better than Kevin Lish last season.
That gives him the game high. 16 points. Tech foul called on the Kings.
It was a delay of game because they got 2 warnings. That's what it is.
That was called on Bryson. And kick it, the 90% free throw shooter can't convert.
Yeah, they dodged a bullet there.
Correction on the call. Delay of game. Second violation.
Steve Carfino all over it on the delay of game call.
Defense.
Risky pass. Lish gets a hand on it. Just stretching too much to try and bring it under his grasp. But Gaze likes the intensity.
This crowd was dead in the first half. I think there's a lot of people that haven't been to a whole lot of basketball.
Now kick it against Moller. Jervis underneath, and the foul was called on Lish, who accepts the call. And Jervis should have been looking at a three-point play.
But Kevin Lish's tenacity, I think, is a great benefit and great positive for the Kings this year. People don't realise how hard it is to win an MVP and a Defensive Player of the Year in the same season, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, because if you are expending all that energy with the toughest cover most nights and then have to muster up hitting big shots like that and pulling your team through those droughts, yeah, not many players have been able to do it in any league.
One of only two men to win the MVP with two different franchises as well in the NBL. Rob Rose the other, and now he's got a chance at doing it at a third. Kevin Lish, as Jervis makes both. Newley back into the ball game for Moller. Whittington isolated against Beal. Bryson for the alley-oop. That was the target, and Sean Bruce did well to get a hand in. And then thrown away by Hill.
Nice touch by the Kings. Possession to the Bullets.
Wow. We've heard he's an athlete. He almost caught that over the top, and he just pinned it on the rim. He got it.
And the most spectacular alley-oops are on average passes, and that was one of them.
Don't know if you remember, Steve, but in this building, maybe the greatest dunk ever in the history of the NBL, Kendrick Johnson, down the middle, a little left-hander that was shown in highlight reel after highlight reel for years.
Jermaine Beal hits his first three-pointer there to open up the buffer again for the Bullets. Found well by Bruce. Now Hill with the dunk. Looked like he might have got away with an extra step or two too to finish off.
Yeah, let him play. Let him play.
Bruce, it was a great pass from him to Beal to set up the wide open three on the last trip down the floor. Jervis backing Hill down. Lefty hook won't go. And away goes Kevin Lish. Bryson wide open for three. Took it on in rhythm again.
And the Brisbane Bullets currently have 4 fouls, so I'd love to see that little up fake and try and get to the rim and get to the foul line. Not live and die by the three as we come down the stretch.
There's the length of Whittington.
Yeah. Gets the block on the three-point attempt from Beal. Beal thought he was fouled as well. Jeremy Hill showing his range. And we're tied again. What a night for Jeremy Hill.
Well, that is a shot he's capable of hitting. He hasn't been able to hit that shot at this level so far. We had a great offseason.
Whittington again comes to confront Kicker. Back-to-back blocks at the defensive end from Whittington. And now there's that foul. And Lish buries the three to get the fans excited, but he'll go to the line, will he not?
And boys, the Sydney Kings could hit the front for the first time in God knows how long.
A long time.
Since the opening minutes when Brad Newley came out of the blocks. And Brisbane took over as the first quarter wound on, but Kevin Lish is going to give them the lead after this timeout.
Timeout on the floor. And you check the score, Sydney.
Good no call. I thought there was some contact on that initially. Whittington, he is just so long. Let's listen to Andre Lamanis.
We're good with the on-ball screens, right? So on the sidelines, we're still icing, all right? And the pick and pop shooter, another guy's got to be there, give some support. But the talk on the hustle needs to be early, all right? If we're going to hustle early, if we're hustling with lists, you can't hustle flat. You've got to come out and go to hustle when it's guard to guard at the big great clock. You're going to do that, all right? Offensively, so when we get a stop or we get the ball, it can't here, walk, get it go, find some pace, get early terror screen, here, trail and postman, run into the rim, then we can have a look. If it's not there, throw it back, get to the second side action, let again the ball do some work. If we throw it in now, run. Terrific. If we some good hard curl cut, then we can come. Hey, we're all right here, fellas.
Keep your head is the cry from Andre Lamanis. But Jeremy Hill has just taken over in the back end of the third quarter and into the fourth.
And we spoke earlier that he had a great off-season playing in the Waratah League, but Steve, doing it in the Waratah League is very, very different than doing it on the big stage in the NBL.
It is different, but, you know, if you struggle with your confidence a little bit and you're dropping big numbers, you're getting 34 and 16, you know, and playing at the bigger stage, he's got the opportunity and he's come in with a lot of confidence. With Julian Kazoo out, he's getting more minutes. And that can work, you know, either way, but it looks as if his confidence is overriding the fact that it was a level down or two.
Kevin Lish, the game-high scorer with 18 now, gives the Kings the lead with less than 5 to go here in their season opener. Very similar pattern to what we saw with Brisbane on Thursday night at home when they looked out of it against Perth and they rallied to get the win by 7 in the end. Bruce hasn't seen that in his locker too often. That's a pretty move by the former Taipan.
Just good awareness, knowing with about 7, 8 seconds left on the shot clock, he had to make a play.
Now Whittington, little finger roll at the end of it was ambitious. Good D from Mitch Young. Tied ball game, 4 to go. Torrey Craig, all the way, just lays it in the end. He could have gone up and ducked it, you fancy. He says, I'll just take the easy two.
Important basket. He sure didn't want to throw that thing off the back of the iron. It's a big hoop for them.
Newley looking to answer. Overshoots the layup. So much experience out there for the Brisbane Bullets. Hill taps it away from Young. Kadee on the fast break. Nice execution. Newley had Lish or Kadee to choose from. He took a good option.
That was always going to Jason Kadee. Well-timed pass. He had those shoulders ahead.
Kick it, Gibson. Now Bruce for 3. Sean Bruce lining it up.
That's a big bucket. Great find by Adam Gibson.
Now Hill, he can't convert the layup either. So they missed a couple of easy ones, the Kings. And the Bullets lead by 3, thanks in no small part to this man, Sean Bruce. Bruce again. Young inside, the hands came from Whittington. He thought he got it clean.
Too much body there, you got to block. Yeah, you got him in the body.
Also the body on Mitch Young.
Here's that big shot you're talking about, Harv. You talk about a lot of players in this game that love the big shot. Bruce has stepped up. You know, late in the shot clock, he's able to shoot the fall away over Jason Kadee. That was big. And then that one just did not hesitate, stepped into it with the shot clock winding down.
And he'll play his 100th game next week at home, Sunday week against Adelaide.
Sometimes you're not able to take the big shots because the veterans do, but you saw the trust and the belief that Adam Gibson had then in Sean Bruce. Drove baseline, didn't think twice. Little left-handed wraparound pass on the dime.
And the opportunity that he took last season when Markel Starks was down to get those extra minutes, and he delivered so often for Cairns as well when he played 20 or 25 minutes a game there at that stage of the season. So the Bullets have responded nicely to lead by 5 with less than 2.5 to go.
And they have had all the answers this game. Every time Sydney makes a run, or, you know, we talk about Sydney being able to stay close, but it has been Brisbane every time
right
with
now,
the answers.
Run around a third corner. So get it here. Get it to Mules, Greg. On this one, fake it. Give him plenty of time. Fake it, back cut. If it's not on, drive straight back at Greg. Greg, you got it to the rim. Mules, if you're there and they sort of set it up, let them know that you're coming to him. They might jump. We're still in this.
Someone help me. Here we go.
Plenty going on in the stadium, just losing audio there at the back end of Andrew Gazer's address, but that'll be about the last time out we'll be able to eavesdrop on because we're entering crunch time.
Yeah, you know, I get the feeling it's going to be close, like you said, James, and that is exactly what we want. All these big game players is Brisbane have loaded up on their roster. Remember, they got Cameron Burstow coming into the lineup as well, which is, I mean, they have absolutely crushed the Sydney Kings on the boards, 41-24. And they've got big 6'10" Cam Burstow coming in.
He's a legitimate big that the NBL hasn't seen. Spent a lot of time in the NBA with the Chicago Bulls training against their bigs. So a big body, and was crucial at the Olympic Games before he hurt his shoulder and could have made an impact for them in those final 4 games.
Yeah, he's not too far away either. Cam Burstow. Oh, great look from Newley. Lish can't get the finish, but he'll go to the line.
And if only we didn't lose audio in Andrew Gazer's timeout, because that's exactly what he said. You wanted Kevin Lish to set up, getting the handoff, and then get backdoor quickly for a little finish. Perfect offense.
Nice pass. Lish, even though he was fouled heavily on that, had his legs taken out from under, upset with himself for not getting the finish and being on the line for the three-point play. It'd be interesting to see if the Kings can execute some cheapies here in the last couple of minutes of the game where it counts the most. And if they do overplay that, that'll open up for some shots.
Kadee getting in the face of Bruce. Kick it down low. Jeremy Hill in a one-on-one situation with Kicker. Good hands again from Hill. Newley will pick up the scraps. He's got Whittington in support. Goes his own, does Newley. Whittington can't get the dunk on the follow-up. And they have missed some close-range baskets down the stretch here, the Kings.
You just want them to have a little bit of luck. Just feel like the luck's gone against them.
Beal in the move. He overshoots the layup as well. Plenty of contact between he and Whittington. Now Kadee, and he stepped out of bounds.
Well, you can't argue with that call.
He definitely can't, but as a shooter, there's no worse feeling than that. You know, you take that little back step as you're about to penetrate to the hoop, and you just hope you didn't touch the line, but Jace Kadee did. We'll see here on the replay, did he get it?
Nowhere near it, is he?
I wouldn't say that, but it looked like his heel was up.
We had that call the other night with Sean Bruce on Thursday night when you guys were at him and he was out of bounds. He got to have the three-point basket afterwards. I'll kick it. Newley gambled, and then he came from the clouds to get a hand in, but the foul is called. And Kick it, the 90% free throw shooter from last season, will shoot 2.
And he's had his miss for the month, so you got to imagine that he's going to knock him down. A couple of missed opportunities by Sydney as Kick it will go to the line. You see the foul there. They miss a layup, and then Jason Kadee steps out of bounds, where it looked like they had a nice little driving lane because he's such a threat from the three-point line.
Just that unnecessary gamble by Brad Newley, a veteran. Obviously with great hands, he can pick up steals all over the court, but 40 seconds to go in a game, he probably played his standard D there.
Well, that free throw making it a 2-possession game for Sydney. I got 2 scores.
And now they're in a 5-point hole. Yep. And Gaze calls for time. Andrew Gaze and Leonard Copeland were coaching against each other a few times in the Seabull last season. The Melbourne Tigers and the Hume City team. Now they're trying to come up with a plan here against the Bullets. Here's another look. You reckon maybe out of bounds? I reckon that's a tough one.
I think the heel did go down. The first glance at that, I didn't think it did, but looking a little closer then at the monitor, I think Jason Caddy's heel just got to the ground and touched that line.
I mean, the ref's right on top of it, too. So anytime you're close, that happens so often, they're looking right at your feet.
When has it ever mattered that they're closer to the action for us to make a decision on whether it was right or wrong?
Well, you know, like a Daniel Kickett missed free throw, I'm going to say something positive for the refs. That's 1 down for the month.
The Harlequins doing their stuff, and the Carfino legacy lives on at the Sydney Kings. Debut for another Carfino tonight, I believe, Steve.
That's right, Bronte Carfino as a cheerleader. There's Benny Knight, former Sydney King. He's a former a lot of teams. He's a bit of a journeyman around the league. There she is right there, the curly hair like her mother.
On your feet, Sydney. Let's bring it all. Put your hands together.
Sydney Kings with the possession, down by 5. It's the number 5 with the inbound, Jason Cadee. What's Andrew Gaze drawn up this time? What the Bullets pride themselves on, but Bryson all the way with the athletic move to bring it back to 3 points. Plenty of time if they get the stompy of the Kings.
About a 10-second differential in shot clock, game clock.
The Bullets looking to potentially ice the game. Gets away from Gibson. Beal has to jack it up for 3. And the rebound hauled in by Cadee, who was clattered by Kickett. And he'll shoot 2 free throws with 6 seconds left on the clock.
And this is the dilemma as a head coach that you're faced with right now. 3-point game with 6 seconds to go, and Jason Cadee has 2 free throws. Steve, do you miss one yet?
I don't. I think you knock them both down, foul, and hope for the best. Then you foul straight away. Obviously got 6 seconds to come and make a play, get the ball at half court. You get a good look at it. But it all starts with 2 made free throws. Just like at Bankstown Stadium that he's done thousands of times.
What are you thinking, Harsh? Should he miss one?
No, I think Steve's right.
And they did miss one.
Fractionally too much time to do that.
You can see that Gaze wanted him to hit both. That reaction, Hill sending Torrey Craig to the line. Chance to make it that 2-possession game with 4 seconds left.
Where are you sitting?
And needed a lot of things go their way, and one of them was those 2 free throws. Now they need some help. And they got it.
The clock inside the arena says 5.3 seconds. Just a little out on our game clock. So more time than you think for the Kings. They trail by 3. And they can set up a play now.
So the missed free throw wasn't an issue by Jason Cadee. He makes them both, and they foul. But still, they needed 3. They need 3 now.
And he's their man, Jason Cadee, after winning the 3-point comp. They've got some options, though, around the floor.
Well, they do. A dribble penetration by Kevin Lish. When we're in school in college, the University of Iowa in the Big Ten, playing up against Indiana, Ohio State. 5 seconds, you dribble right at the defender of your best shooter, hand off and shoot.
So a grandstand finish in the Sydney Kings home opener. The new look Sydney Kings under Andrew Gaze. Said he was considerably nervous heading into this one.
Well, the truth is, the team that wins this comp or has the best record at the regular season will take their lumps. You know, this competition is just too tough. It's going to be very difficult. What you don't want to do is get a big hole for yourself and have to string off a bunch of wins in a row, because there are some tough teams that are loaded with talent, super depth this year throughout the league. As you saw last night, Wollongong dropping 122 with a number of players making contributions.
So who's going to get to take the shot for the Kings, and can the board stop them even getting a shot off? Bryson and Cadee, Lish out there as well. Jeremy Hill has hit a 3 in this quarter. They get it into Bryson, back to Newley for the tie! And the Brisbane Bullets are going to start the new season back in the NBL after their 8-year absence, 2-0. What a win for them on the road to silence the Sydney Kings faithful.
Well, they got a look. It wasn't a great look. Well defended by the Brisbane Bullets. Good executed play, but some good D. And then get a clean in-rhythm look, but Newley made it pretty close. He should just miss it. Or make it, either way.
Yeah, there's nothing Sydney can do with 0.3 on the clock here, especially when that goes in. Bryson won't even get the shot off. Won't even be good if it goes. So the Brisbane Bullets, they're 2-0 to start the new season back in the NBL. And Andrew Gaze beaten first up as a head coach, but Dad Lindsay also lost to Brisbane in his first game in 1984 when it was a 24-point blowout, and it worked all right for him as a head coach.
And that's how you want to start. Great start for the Brisbane Bullets. Andre Lamanis kind of slugged it out. 9 points in the first quarter. Got all the kinks out, and they've been playing good basketball ever since. Andrew Gaze, that's a loss for him, but his team did some good things. But an opponent of the Brisbane Bullets, after having one game under their belt, it was always going to be a tough one. And getting out rebounded like they did tonight, 44-28, was always going to make it difficult. Sydney Kings bigs getting in foul trouble. They were playing undersized for a lot of the game. Andrew Gaze's concern, like in that interview, was Julian Kazoo being out.
Yeah, and Josh Dow to come. Let's go to James Harvey for some reaction.
With the Ladbrokes player of the game, Daniel Kickett. Now, first up in a new franchise, it must be great to get 2 wins back-to-back to start a season.
Yeah, awesome. It's great for the franchise. It's great for our fans up in Brisbane. And I think it's good for the NBL, and we're continuing to build, and I think we'll build each game and each week that we get to train together.
The expectation was that it'll take some time to get used to Andre Lamanis' system. I just wanted to ask about him. He came back from the Olympics after that devastating loss against Spain. How's he been stepping back into this group in the NBL for the first time in a while?
I think it's been awesome. I think for him it's been able to put his energy into something straight away after an ending like that to an Olympics has been great for him, but also great for us because his passion is there and it's always been there. So just his experience over the last few months, or last 5-6 years, has been immense. So we just sit back and listen to what he has to say and feed off him.
Great stuff, mate, tonight. Ladbrokes player of the game, Daniel Kickett. Back to you, boys.
Thanks, Harv.